In this video, I'll take a look at HYLN's proxy statement for the 2026 annual meeting and kind of compare it to the previous years. And this is filed under the SEC DF Form 14A. And as of March 25th, 2026, they had approximately 178 million shares of common stock outstanding and entitled to vote. In the previous year, that was 175 million. So it increased by 3 million shares. Ownership of certain beneficial owners, call it capital, they're still listed. The share count hasn't changed, but someone left. Well, an entity left from that. In the previous years, BlackRock was also listed as having 5.7% of common stock, and they no longer appear. So they would have under 5%, but it's not publicly shown because it's under 5%, or they don't have any shares of HYLN at all. Another thing that's changed under security ownership of directors and management, Josh Mook has appeared. And previously, it was Govey. And in the previous year's proxy statement, Govey was listed as a named executive officer, and in this year, Govey is not, and instead, Josh Mook is a named executive officer in this report. I did check HYLN's website, and Govey is still listed as being there, so he did not leave. It's just that Josh Mook is now a named executive officer. Changes to compensation for 2026. The compensation committee named Mr. Healy's base salary and target annual incentive at 2025 levels. So that means his salary did not increase. His long-term incentive award was set to $2.4 million, a reduction from $2.8 million in 2025, reflecting alignment with the company's compensation peer group. And if you're to compare it to the previous year's peer group, they removed certain EV vehicle companies from the peer group list, such as Nikola Motors and HYLN Motors, because I'm pretty sure neither exist anymore. So as you can see, Josh Mook is in this compensation table list, and he has a base salary of $400,000, and they gave him last year a 2,500,000 bonus, which, if you add those two together, that equals Thomas Healy's salary of $650,000, and that's how much cash that they receive. And then there's the at-risk compensation aspect of it. That's in restricted stock units, and as well as performance-based stock units as well. So that's tied up and locked, and that's designed to keep them at the company and keep them working. It's golden handcuffs, essentially. Auditing fees and services. There's an all other fees section, and they spent $48,000 in all other fees. And there's a footnote 2, and 2 says other fees consist of review related to Form S3. The S3 form deals with somehow generating up to $500 million of capital from somewhere so HYLN can keep functioning as a company beyond 2028. And they spent $48,000 not publishing the S3 form, but reviewing things related to the S3 form. So if they're going to borrow a bunch of money, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not, is that they're going to have to service that debt. For example, if they borrow $200 million, is that they're going to have to pay interest on that $200 million, either in monthly or quarterly installments. And they're going to be taking a look to see how much money that this company generates. And we know right now it doesn't generate a whole lot of money. So there's something else going on, and I don't know what that is, to convince someone to give them money to keep developing this Carnot generator. And these auditors are reviewing things related to this S3 form. What are they reviewing? Only the auditors know, and that is not public information. The auditors, Grant Thornton, they're the independent auditors. So they're looking at stuff, and they're probably sizing up the company, seeing how much it's worth, how much its technology is worth, how much its patents are worth, because they're not generating a whole lot of revenue right now. None of the performance metrics established under the 2025 cash-based annual incentive program were achieved during the year. Development efforts were affected by unexpected design, engineering, and manufacturing challenges, which are common in development of new technologies such as the Carnot power module. Although the company successfully addressed these challenges through focused engineering efforts and by insourcing key manufactured components, the resulting schedule delays prevented achievement of 2025 deliverables associated with annual compensation metrics. So they had challenges related to unexpected design, engineering, and manufacturing challenges. And the following statement says that the company successfully addressed these challenges. But there's still one other challenge out there that I don't know if it's a design, engineering, and manufacturing challenge, but it's the ability for the Carnot module to generate 200 kilowatts of power, because right now it only does 150 kilowatts. But the company successfully addressed the design, engineering, and manufacturing challenges. So maybe the kilowatt power output is a different challenge that will be addressed in 2026. Company performance metrics and achievements. And this is where I'm going to have to pull up the one from the previous year. So the previous year, it said Carnot generator deliveries, threshold 5, achieved 0. And the previous year, it's 2024. In 2025, the threshold is 10. It's double what the prior year is. And achieved, instead of saying 0, it says below threshold. Why don't you just put a number in there? I know that there were at least 2 Carnot generators delivered to the Navy. Why don't you just put 2 in here? Why do you have to put below threshold? Because that means it's somewhere between 0 and 9. And now the following year, is that threshold going to double to 20? Or is it going to stay the same to 10, at 10? Or maybe next year they should change that threshold to 5 so they can actually deliver something. Carnot generator performance threshold 2 of 6 factors. Achieved. Are they going to put a number in there? No, just put below threshold. So they achieved either 0 items or 1. Maybe it looks better just to put below threshold instead of a 0. And it also noticed that the payout, it has a dash %. In the previous year, they had a payout of 0%. So you don't want to really like broadcast the bad numbers, but instead just put a dash in there and percent. It looks like there's nothing there. It's not a big fat 0, it's a dash. Now we have individual goals and achievements. So the named executive officers, they did not get performance payouts for that, but they did get performance payouts on individual goals and achievements. And again, Govey swapped out with Josh. But Thomas Healy oversaw Carno production, development testing, and initial customer deliveries, expanded government pipeline across the Navy and broader Department of Defense, which is very important. That's the only thing they have going for them right now. Improved program management, supply chain, and operations to strengthen execution and accountability. Hopefully that will, the strengthen the execution part will make these achieved, actually put a number in there, make it look successful. That's what I'm hoping for this year. Continued development of long-term vision of Carno commercialization. So there's a long-term vision to commercialize this and generate revenue that Thomas has put together. And he had a total annual cash incentive payout of $162,500. John Panzer oversaw development of Carno commercialization roadmap and necessary systems, supported cost modeling efforts related to Carno commercialization, oversaw U.S. government contracts and funding opportunities. Government contracts are very important. Funding opportunities are also important. Josh Mook completed initial beta validation testing on performance and durability, incorporated beta learnings with production ECRs. ECRs, I think, is an engineering change request. So if you want to change something with the Carno module, it has to go through him. Supported execution of government contracts. So right now, it looks like the first step is this government contract thing, getting more government contracts, getting additional branches of the government interested in this generator, and then shift to commercialization later down the road in the civilian market. But from what I'm seeing so far, most of this is looking like a Department of Defense thing. Proposal 4. After careful consideration, the board recommends that the company's shareholders approve an amendment to the HYLN Holdings 2024 Equity Incentive Plan to increase the number of shares of common stock available for issuance by 8 million shares. And this is designed to give out awards to the executive officers, the directors of these different board committees, audit, compensation, technology, as well as employees, to keep them there and keep them working on the generator. And the board approved this amendment on March 26, 2026, but they also need approval from the shareholders, which includes retail investors, as well as Thomas Healy, Coley Capital, and you have to keep in mind that Thomas has like 19% of HYLN shares just allocated to him, and Coley Capital is sitting on slightly north of 5%. And just between those two, it's like one quarter of all stock available between the company, but they need the other 75% input. In making the recommendation to increase the number of shares available for issuance under the 2024 plan by an additional 8 million shares, we considered a number of factors, including the need to retain and motivate employees, the importance of aligning employees' compensation more closely with shareholder interest, and an internal assessment of the amount of shares we estimate needing in order to continue to award competitive equity pay-based compensation to our employees and the board for the next 3 years, and the dilutive impact of an increased share reserve. So there is another time component that we can take from this statement: 3 years. 3 years plus whenever this meeting is, which is like, I think it's in May. That'll push things out to 2029. And HYLN at the current burn rate is going to run out of money in 2028. So obviously they're going to get funding from somewhere to keep on going. I don't know where, I don't know how, but that's related to the S3. And so it's definitely going to push it out till 2029, and the lease renewal is up for renewal in 2027. So they may, and they're going to, if they do, I just see them, and this is speculation, I see them going for another 5-year renewal term. And if they do another 5-year renewal term, and if they burn 60 million in cash, they would have to get 300 million in capital from somewhere. And it could be less. It could be less if they generate revenue, but at this point, it looks like they're not generating any meaningful revenue anytime soon. So I would speculate that they would have to borrow 300 million of capital just to keep going for another 5 years, and that would position them to 2032. That's assuming that they can continue the current cash burn through 2028, then 2028 plus 5 years, that puts you at 2032. No, that's 2033 actually. So that pushes them out till 2033. Maybe 4 years, because then that would be in alignment with that 5-year lease renewal term. Maybe they just get 4 years of capital. So that would be what? 60 times 4, that's 300 and I said 50 times, no, I did 60 times 5. 60 times 4. So they would have to borrow 240 million to go till 2032. And the last statement, as of March 25th, 2026, we have no shares available for grant under any other equity compensation plan, and 2, minimal stock minimal outstanding stock options and no outstanding stock appreciation rights. So they've run out of shares to give to directors, named executive officers, other executives and employees. So they want another 8 million in shares, that's going to push the stock price down. And of course, people will freak out. The stock price is going down, but then that's a opportunity to acquire more shares at a discount. So I see them, again, speculation, at least buying enough capital to keep going for an additional 4 years, which is at least 240 million. That's assuming that they generate very little revenue. But we'll see what actually happens in the future. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.